Okay, I got to level with you all. My emotional gas tank, it is running on absolute fumes right now.
Oh.
We just blew past the trade deadline. And after all the talk, all the hope, honestly, all the begging for some sign, any sign, we got nothing. Silence. It is just deeply, deeply frustrating as a fan.
And look, that frustration, that's actually what we need to dig into today. It's kind of the perfect starting point.
Right.
We're doing a necessary reality check here. We've got this analysis, and frankly, it's pretty painful, pretty critical stuff.
The T, as they say.
Exactly. It's looking hard at what the team's, failure to make any move actually tells us about their asset value.
Yeah.
And maybe more importantly, where this whole ship is heading long term.
So if you're out there feeling that organizational letdown, that deflation, you're definitely not alone.
Yeah.
Our sources are saying the same thing. Deep disappointment, that silence, it really does speak volumes, doesn't it? But what's it actually saying?
Well, it's saying that you put your stuff out there for sale, you hang up the sign, and the market just kind of shrugs. That's what the analysis calls an asset valuation crisis.
Right.
It's this idea of the non-move move.
The non-move move. I like that.
The takeaway is pretty brutal. The Giants did absolutely nothing. And that suggests the league sees their tradable players as, and this is a direct quote, thrift store chic.
Oof, thrift store chic.
Yeah.
That nails it, doesn't it? It captures the problem perfectly.
It does.
Because if you have guys other teams really want, your phone rings off the hook.
Yeah.
You get offers, maybe even a bidding war.
Right. Sometimes you get forced into a trade you weren't even sure about.
Exactly. So when nobody's calling or the calls aren't serious, it means the guys you might want to move, they just don't have enough juice to bring back real capital.
And it's not just about failing to buy, it's the failure to sell. We heard the names right. Neal, Jalin, Hyatt, Deontay Banks. Rumors flying around.
Yeah, floating out there.
The analysis suggests, look, maybe management wanted a high price, maybe they set the bar too high, but if the best you can get back for someone is a conditional 7th round pick, you end up just standing pat.
Because what's the point? Right.
Precisely. And the sources basically conclude that taking back some tiny marginal return, it's pointless because, quote, it won't fix a talent pipeline problem.
And that just hammers home the main takeaway here. Roster value equals reality check. Yep. Period.
Yeah.
No big pivot, no clear move away from guys who just aren't living up to where they were drafted. The deadline really just, it exposed that the foundation maybe isn't as solid as we all hoped.
Which means we have to look at where that foundation comes from.
The draft. Always the draft.
If you really want to gauge let's say, the systemic health of a team that feels like it's always rebuilding.
Yeah.
You have to scrutinize how they use that draft capital.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's start with 2022. That class seems like maybe the one bright spot.
It provides a little bit of light right now, yeah. You look at the returns, they're positive in spots. Thibodeaux is trending up,
Okay.
Wan'Dale Robinson is producing when he's out there. Guys like McFadden, Bellinger, they're solid contributors. Flott showing some growth.
That's the stuff that buys you time, right?
Yeah.
That's silver lining.
It is. But, and this is a big but, the source material is quick to point out the other side of that coin.
Which is?
The quote is, the early pick misses at OL and DB linger like cold leftovers. Ouch.
Cold leftovers. Yeah, that feels right. Those big misses at the top, they just hang around.
And they force you to spend future picks fixing past mistakes. It stalls everything out. You never really get moving forward.
Which makes the critique of the 2023 class even more concerning.
Yeah, the analysis basically warns that this group, the 23 class, needs more than vibes.
Needs more than vibes, okay.
And the worry is that the early returns haven't cashed. We're halfway through their second year now.
Right.
And if those top picks, day 1, day 2 guys, aren't showing clear, significant upward trajectory, the alarm bells, they start ringing pretty loud.
I think, honestly, the scariest line in all this analysis, the one that really jumped out at me, was the warning about what happens next. It says, if your top 100s become sell lows, your rebuild becomes a rebuild. Can you unpack that idea?
Yeah.
Because that sounds bad.
It's the absolute definition of a vicious cycle. It's like quicksand for a franchise.
How so?
Okay, think about it. If you consistently hit on your, say, 3rd round picks, right? You build cheap depth. You might even develop tradable assets down the line.
Okay, makes sense.
But if you miss on your high picks, your firsts, your seconds, you obviously lack star power. That's bad enough.
Yeah.
But you also lack the good, solid depth that should have been built with those slightly lower picks you might have traded away or used poorly.
Gotcha.
So you're forced to use your next high picks just trying to replace the busts from before.
Yeah.
You never actually accumulate enough talent across the board to really compete.
It's like you're always plugging holes instead of building something new.
Yeah. Exactly. The opportunity cost of whiffing on those early picks, it just gets compounded year after year after year. You're perpetually stuck.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's talk about the star power we do have, or thought we had. Because scheme and how guys play, they're tied together, right?
Inextricably.
We have to talk about Dexter Lawrence, Dexy. We love the guy. He's supposed to be the tone setter. But this analysis is pretty clinical about him this year.
Yeah, it doesn't pull punches. It points to a real production dip. The numbers are down.
So what's the deal? The analysis asks the big question. What's causing this clarity gap?
Right. Is it health? Is he playing through something we don't know about?
Could be.
Is it the scheme? Are they asking him to do different things this year that don't show up on the stat sheet the same way? Maybe occupy blockers more.
Or is it motivation? Or, and this one was interesting, is it, quote, contract vibes?
That contract vibe suggestion is certainly spicy. Suggests maybe something's not quite right behind the scenes after getting paid.
But what really jumped out at me there was the note about inside voices pushing public criticism.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel normal.
It's absolutely not normal, or at least it shouldn't be.
Right.
When your best player, your highest paid defender, the guy who's supposed to be the culture, when he's getting criticized, even subtly, through public channels, that signals a potentially major internal issue.
Yeah, like a breakdown somewhere.
You need clarity on that, like yesterday, from the very top. Because if your star isn't performing and the reasons are murky, that kind of uncertainty, it can spread through the whole locker room, the whole defense.
And that kind of leads us naturally to the whole Deontay Banks situation, the cornerback debate. The analysis here is blunt.
Very blunt.
It says effort and physicality are non-negotiables. Basically, if a guy isn't bringing those consistently on tape,
Yeah.
he shouldn't just get snaps because he was a high pick.
And this is where the analysis really challenges maybe the front office's thinking, or what we assume their thinking is.
How so?
Well, when you draft a guy really high, first round, right, there's this built-in tendency to protect the asset, to cling to that initial valuation.
Sure, you don't want to admit a mistake quickly.
Right. But the source material here makes a pretty controversial point. Depth issues, injuries elsewhere shouldn't guarantee that guy a job.
Okay.
If you've got some 7th rounder, some late pick or undrafted guy who comes out and, quote, will hit and turn his head.
Meaning play physical and make plays on the ball.
Exactly. That guy should play. Period. End of story.
It's a call for pure meritocracy over draft pedigree, which intellectually is hard to argue with, even if it stings to bench a first rounder.
It does sting, but here's where the trade deadline in action becomes maybe the most revealing part about Banks.
Ah, connecting back, okay.
Right. The analysis poses this really pointed underlying question. It asks, if any day 3 pick was offered and we said no, that's a separate conversation.
Meaning, if someone offered, say, a 6th rounder for Banks, and the Giants turned it down.
Correct. If they turn down even a marginal pick like that for a guy who's clearly struggling on tape,
Yeah.
it implies they're still valuing pride, or maybe misplaced hope, over actually getting something back for an asset whose value is dropping.
So, sentiment over ruthless efficiency.
Which is often the hallmark of an organization that isn't quite willing to make the really tough, pragmatic decisions needed to turn things around.
Okay, let's tie this back to the bigger picture. The system, the defensive scheme. Because the analysis suggests there's a ceiling here, that even the good players are being held back.
Exactly. It talks about the relationship between the back end, the secondary, and the pass rush.
And how does that work? Or not work, in this case?
Well, the point is we have edge rushers, guys like Thibodeaux, who are winning their reps often enough. They're getting pressure, creating opportunities.
Yep, good.
But the scheme in the secondary is the bottleneck. It's the limiting factor.
Oh, yeah.
When you run predictable coverages, stuff the QB has seen a million times, he knows exactly where to go with the ball and when, almost instantly.
Right, easy reads.
Easy reads mean easy throws, quick throws. The ball's out in, 2.5 seconds? Maybe less?
And when the ball is out that fast, our pass rushers can't get home.
Their impact gets totally neutered. An elite rusher, or even just a good one winning his rep, often needs that extra half second, that beat,
Yeah.
to execute a counter move, to shed the block fully, to finish the sack. Our guys are winning battles, but the secondary isn't forcing the QB to hold the ball. They're not forcing, quote, one extra hitch.
Just one extra beat is all it takes sometimes.
That extra half second. That's the difference between a pressure and a sack, between an incompletion and a completion. If the coverage is tight, if it's disguised, if the QB has to think, pause, that's when the pass rush eats.
So what's missing then? Is it just the players in the secondary aren't good enough, or is it coaching?
The sources seem to point heavily towards coaching execution or scheme design, really. It's not just saying the players are bad, it's highlighting what's absent. Basic stuff, really. Things needed to, quote, make the QB think.
Like what?
Lack of disguises pre-snap. Not enough safety rotation to confuse reads. Predictable zone drops. Soft coverage. Static looks.
So predictable.
Very predictable. And if your back end is predictable and soft, you are fundamentally wasting the effort, the winning reps of your guys up front. It's a systemic failure.
Wow. Okay. We've spent a lot of time on the negatives, past drafts, current assets not performing, scheme issues. Let's try to find a glimmer of hope. Let's look forward.
Please.
Marcus Bowe, offensive lineman, got his first start. Did the analysis see anything there? Anything positive for the pipeline? We desperately need something good on that O-line.
We do. And yes, there's a pretty detailed breakdown of Bowe's first start here. And the verdict is actually cautiously optimistic.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, what'd they like?
On the plus side, quick feet, definitely showed that. Uses his hands with good timing, like a good timing hand punch. And when the ball's coming out fast, like on quick sets, he has a nice, clean get-off.
Those sound like good foundational traits for a tackle.
Absolutely. Those are the athletic building blocks you really want to see. You can work with that.
There's always a but, isn't there? What were the concerns? There's gotta be physical stuff for a rookie.
Yeah, immediate physical shortcomings, which is pretty typical.
Yeah.
He clearly needs more upper body strength. That's the main thing.
How did that show up?
The tape showed him getting, quote, walked back when defenders win chest. Basically, if a rusher gets inside his frame with power, he struggles to anchor down. And he needs to learn to keep moving his feet through contact better against those power guys. But again, that's largely strength and technique development, not like he lacks the feet.
And in the run game.
Looked okay getting into position on double teams initially, good positioning. But after that first contact, there was, quote, limited push. Not really moving guys off the ball yet. Again, points to needing more functional strength.
So overall verdict, he's only 22. What's the projection here?
The projection is actually pretty solid. The analysis says he has a legit swing tackle trajectory.
Swing tackle. Explain that.
Means he looks like he has the potential, the athleticism, to eventually play competently on both sides, left tackle and right tackle. Maybe not elite starter potential yet, but a valuable piece.
It is valuable. Depth, versatility. So the advice
is clear. Keep Illuminator, let Bowe grow. Don't just throw Bowe out there to sink or swim yet. Let him develop behind the vet, get stronger. Nurture that potential. It's something positive to build on.
Okay, potential building block. We'll take it.
Yeah.
But all this analysis, the players, the scheme, the draft misses, it all inevitably leads back upstairs, right? To the front office.
Always does.
And the huge question looming over everything, according to these sources, is this. Does the organization, does the building even have the bandwidth for a full GM plus head coach reset right now?
That's the million-dollar question, or maybe billion-dollar given the stakes. It points to this potential for organizational paralysis.
What do you mean by paralysis?
Well, think about the scenario where maybe only the head coach gets changed, but the GM stays. The analysis raises a big problem with that. Who picks the next coach? If the GM making that hire is himself potentially on the hot seat, maybe only has one more year, then the whole process can become about self-preservation, not necessarily finding the absolute best long-term fit for the franchise.
And what does that uncertainty do when you're trying to attract top coaching candidates?
It kills your chances with the best ones, your top-tier candidates, the guys who have options. They're like CEOs. They will not accept that kind of risk. They won't take jobs with unclear timelines.
Makes sense. Why walk into a situation where the guy who hired you might be gone in 12 months?
Exactly. They don't want to risk their own reputation, their own staff, on a shaky foundation where a new GM could come in next year and just clean house again.
So the takeaway is stability sells, even if things are bad now.
Absolutely. The source material really hammers this point. If they are going to make changes at the top, GM, coach, whatever, the whole process has to be, quote, airtight.
Airtight, meaning
a clear plan, a unified message, a long-term vision. That's what you need to sell to attract real quality leadership. Otherwise, you risk falling even deeper into that rebuild quicksand we talked about earlier.
Man. Okay. This has been, well, it's been a lot. A pretty tough look, but like you said, a necessary one.
Yeah.
The trade deadline, or lack thereof, really was that painful reality check on where the roster value truly stands. And it underscores just how critical it is to fix that draft pipeline.
Yeah.
Especially getting more out of that 2023 class. Like right now, the clock is ticking there.
And we saw how even the best players like Dexter Lawrence can be held back by bigger issues. Scheme predictability limiting the pass rush. It just shows how everything is connected.
Yeah. Management has to connect those dots. Organizational structure, coaching philosophy, player development, on-field execution, it all ties together.
And for anyone trying to really understand what's going on with this team, you have to look at these underlying systemic things: asset valuation, draft strategy, leadership stability. That's where the real answers are.
Okay, so we've laid out the problems. The talent deficit seems clear, the pipeline issues are real, and we know stability at the top is crucial to attract the right kind of leadership for a fix.
Right.
So here's the final thought, the question maybe to leave everyone chewing on. Given how deep these problems seem, the talent gap, the systemic issues, which is actually the greater risk for the Giants right now? Is it sticking with the current structure, hoping for that long-term stability, even if it means slow progress or maybe no progress? Or is the greater risk actually not making radical, immediate, short-term changes, even if it causes disruption?
That's the dilemma.
Is waiting for stability just delaying an inevitable collapse that requires a complete teardown and rebuild? Or maybe a rebuild, something to think about.
Just wanted to say a massive thank you for tuning in to Big Blue Tea.
Absolutely. And, a huge shout out always to Black Freezy TV.
Oh,
For
definitely.
the fantastic programming, the production, everything that makes this possible.
Yep. Their work behind the scenes is just really appreciated.
It really is.
This has been Big Blue Tea.